You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 19th, 2022 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety to order this 19th day of December 2022. President or Mayor Dwayne Perry, Mr. Michael Vincent, and myself, Virginia Keating, we have a quorum. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular hybrid Zoom meeting of December 5th, 2022, and the special meeting of December 12th, 2022. Are there any corrections?
None here, Madam Chair. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
A call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the approval of a contract. Tim Haas, president of Haas and Associates, is requesting approval of their engineering contract between the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety and Haas and Associates LLC for professional engineering services, surveying and related services effective January 1st, 2023, and not to exceed $50,000. Is there anybody here who wants to address this? Amber, have you reviewed this?
Yes, everything is in order, Madam President.
Okay. Any comments from the public? Are there any board comments?
Madam Chair, I will say that this was necessary because of the workload in that area that the city has between the double track, which Mr. Minnick is handling very adeptly, and the community crossings. And with the passing of John Doyle, this is a necessity.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a stop sign request. Coleman Moore, 201 Hoyt Street, is requesting a stop sign or speed bumps to be placed at Barker Avenue and Buffalo Street to break up the speed of traffic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Coleman Moore, 201 Hoyt Street. The reason I'm asking for a stop sign to be placed at Buffalo and Barker Avenue, because as cars come down Wabash or come down Barker, they have a tendency to make that right turn or left turn to make a curve to go straight up the hill, and they're speeding. And nowadays we're getting these loud noise cars and stuff like that. And it would help slow down the speed by putting a stop sign there, and also reduce the noise that's going up and down the hill. And we also got cars speeding down the hill to get to Wabash also from Ohio.
Okay, thank
That's the
you.
reason for the request.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Somebody from the police department, can you address this?
Good morning, Corporal Wright, Michigan City Traffic Division. I'm going to ask that this be tabled till the next meeting. That way I can do a little more research in this area. I know there's already a stop sign just 2 blocks to the east at Wabash and Barker, but that'll allow me sufficient time to do a little bit more research in this to see if this is
Okay.
necessary.
You're going to check out accidents at that area as well?
That's correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Any public comments? Board comments?
I'll make a motion. We table this till next meeting in order for the police department to give us their recommendation.
Support.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The next item is an update to job descriptions. Tanisha George, Human Resources Director, is requesting to update the following job descriptions: Administrative Assistant, Special Events, and Social Worker for the Police Department.
Good morning, Board. Tanisha George, Human Resources Director, City of Michigan City. We are asking the board to consider the creation of 2 jobs. The first one is the Administrative Assistant to our Special Events Director. This position is something that has been included in our 2023 budget, and it's a necessary position because, as you all know, just based on the past year, our special events director is a very busy person. And unfortunately, we can't duplicate him, but we can get him some assistance so that he can continue to do his job the way that he's been doing it, and not be stretched thin, to have someone in the office to help with the clerical and administrative duties, and just someone to be places that he necessarily can't be at all times. That's the first position. The second position is a social worker, and this will be housed in the police department. This particular position is also included in our 2023 budget. However, we received a grant through HealthLink to pay for the salary of this particular position. A social worker or social workers have been something that police departments throughout the country have looked at, and including because of incidents where the police have been called out to situations where it required more of a mental health type of situation. It was a mental health type of situation versus a criminal situation. And so with the closing of different mental health facilities in Indiana, we found that we have a huge number of people that require mental health mental health assistance versus having criminal assistance. So what HealthLink did was that they have, I guess they created monies, or they found monies, and they have been encouraging police departments throughout the state of Indiana. And I think we're one of a few, and I don't have all the statistics on his, but I think we have both of the chiefs here with us, and they can give you more information if you did want that about that particular position.
Thank you.
Okay.
Comments from the public? Does someone from the police department want to come up and give us a little more information on that position?
Morning, everybody. Marty Corley, Chief Operations, Michigan City Police Department. Like Mrs. George was saying, HealthLink has a grant that they received from the government. Basically, it's part of their, what they call their MERT team, but it allows social workers to be placed in the police departments. We'll be the third police department in Northwest Indiana with the social worker. And I want to say probably the fourth or fifth in the state of Indiana. Right now, the grant is being applied with Griffith PD for the last couple of years, and also Valpo PD. Prior to going forward with this, we actually spoke with the Griffith Police Department chief and their social worker, and also Valpo Police Department chief and their social worker. And right now, the social worker is doing great work for them. Like Mrs. George was saying, basically, there's a lot of calls of service that we get where it's more of a mental health issue and not so much of a criminal issue. The social worker will do case management where they'll follow up with these people. In Bloomington Police Department, where they are basically the very first police department in Indiana to have social worker, they've decreased their call loads for those type of calls from after a couple months of follow-up case management from people who will call on a regular basis. They had a statistical graph that basically showed from about 2 months how the call load for 2 or 3 people that had mental health issues that they had to address went from 50 to 0 due to the case worker working with them, getting them the proper services that they need that didn't require police actions. So HealthLink has this grant, and so we've been in contact with them here the last probably year, and they'll basically reimburse the pay for the social worker. We will be coming back to you all with the MOU that is Attorney LePage is actually looking over now. Once she's completed it and gives it her blessing, then we'll get it on the Board of Works agenda for your approval.
Okay, in practical terms, how is this going to work? Does the social worker go out on calls with you? What happens?
So it really is. I guess they won't be like in a police car on a regular basis. The social worker, once he or she gets comfortable, they can ride with an officer on a daily basis. But for the most part, they'll be referred and kind of called to the scene. They might work an 8 to 4 shift. Sometimes they might come in from 2 to 10. It just kind of varies. What we found in Griffith and Valpo is that the social worker did have a agenda, set schedule, maybe like 8 to 4. And a lot of times what officers would do, make referrals. So say if the midnight shift had a incident where they came across somebody that needed some follow-up, they would then send an email to the social worker, and then he or she would then follow up with that. If the social worker needs some type of assistance when it comes to the scene may not be secure or securing the scene, then the officers will go out with he or she to do that. We'll make sure that they are safe. They will be provided some items that they might need for their safety and some training. But other than that, it won't be like a regular, they'll be dispatched out. But there'll be times that they might be called out. They might ride with officers and they'll be getting referrals.
And will they have an office at the police department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We've already started making room or making arrangements for a space.
Okay, and so they receive a referral from,
Our officers.
okay, and then are they free to schedule these follow-ups on their own, or are they supervised?
They'll work on their own basically under my supervision. If they have any questions, I'll be the person that they'll call, but they'll work on their own schedule. And
I have no other questions. Does anybody on the board have any questions?
Madam Chair, I would like to make a comment on this. Both of these items. First, the police situation. I pay very, very close attention to all of our police activities every waking hour, in my office, in my car when I'm in transit, at home on my police radio. I do have a life, but this is very important. And I noticed that we have so many calls that our police respond to, and I see a common component of those, of what we address being mental health. And so I think this is truly a vital thing that we have to put into place. As far as the events coordinator, as Mr. Greetham continues to expand the events for our community and the visitors that come to Michigan City, this is going to become necessary because there's only so many hours in the day that he can handle this. So I would ask that the board consider this.
I would concur with what you've said. Do you have any comments?
I have a question with the social worker. Is this a officer trained position?
no, it'll be a civilian. In the job description, you'll see that one of the requirements will be a LCSW, I'm saying that right? LCS, licensed clinical social worker. They will have to have that certification, which is a master degree certification. So
Is this a position we're looking at for example, a 911 call to help with de-escalation of an incident, or this is after the fact to set up appointments? I don't understand how that transitions.
yeah. So if it's something that they wouldn't per se get the 911 call, our officers would probably more like always respond first, but the follow-up will be done by the social worker, which means that the social worker could come to the scene with the officer at the time of dispatch, or they could be referred later.
Do you think that the availability of a social worker will help in de-escalation if the officer lets the people know that that's available to them? Is that a de-escalation that the officers will use?
So yes. So to your question, yes, that's will be a tool that officers will have access to and know if they can. We are also in the process of doing CIT training with the officers, which is critical intervention training, which is towards your de-escalation question. So our officers will be trained with that and also have the social worker available to help out in situations where we may not know the resources for them that the person needs, but the social worker then refer them.
One last question. Are we putting this out as advertisement, or is somebody helping us with placement of this person?
No, we'll put it out as a job description, advertisement in a paper or social media.
Okay. Well, thank you for
I
answering.
have one question. How long is the grant going to last?
I believe 2 years, 2-year grant.
Do you know if HealthLink will reapply after the 2 years?
Yes, because actually we're getting into their second cycle of a 2-year grant. So from the talks previously when I first had information about this up until the last grant cycle, their intentions are to continue to apply for the grant as long as it's available.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, we approve both the administrative assistant and the social worker.
And I'll call, go ahead.
Support.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Thank you, Board.
Next item on the agenda is the Singing Sands Insurance Policy Renewal. Charles Keene, Vice President, General Insurance Services, GIS, is requesting approval for a Singing Sands Trail General Liability and Excess Liability Insurance Renewal. The policy term will be from January 1st, 2023 to January 1st, 2024. The renewal annual premium total amount is $46,334. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for that introduction and review of what I'm here for. So we've been doing the Singing Sands Trail insurance policy specific to the Singing Sands Trail. It was needed for multiple agreements between the City of Michigan City, the Chicago South Shore Railroad, Amtrak, and NIPSCO. The agreement specifically with the South Shore Railroad had several insurance requirements that the City of Michigan City needed to satisfy the license agreement. The insurance requirements are extensive and require coverage specific to the agreements. The initial insurance policies were effective January 1st, 2017, which was the date the Chicago Railroad was approved by the Board of Works, or to go into effect, excuse me. So it was probably approved before that, but went into effect January 1st, 2017. And then a very brief overview of the insurance, which meets all the requirements of the contract. We have primary general liability coverage with a $2 million aggregate and a $1 million each occurrence. Excess liability layer 1, $5 million each occurrence with a $5 million aggregate. And that follows form with the underlying general liability. And then excess layer 2, which is 4 million excess of the 5 million, each occurrence 4 million, aggregate of 4 million. And that follows form with the two underlying policies. So in essence, that totals up to $10 million, which is required by the South Shore Railroad agreement. And not to be redundant, but the annual premium, $46,334.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? Does the board have any comments?
I'd like to ask, is this covers the entire Singing Sands Trail and any additions to it?
The additions will have to be analyzed as it gets built.
Okay, this is just what we currently have.
Yeah, so the specifically the phase 1 is the reason for the separate insurance policies, essentially. So we had to, because of the requirements, specifically the limits of coverage and the wording within that they wanted in the insurance policies, it was appropriate to go to a different market than the city's normal insurance policy because of the agreement that we had to comply with.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the clarification of not only the board, but the public, tell me if I'm wrong, Mr. Keene, I think phase 1 is these phases are a length of the path. And phase 1 would be the west side of town where the Singing Sands Trail crosses both Amtrak and NICD rails. So there's a lot of there's a lot of potential for danger there. So that's why this is unique.
Yeah, not to mention it crosses Highway 12 as well.
Exactly. It transitions right at Highway 12 from the Calumet Trail to the Singing Sands.
Correct. So it actually crosses Highway 12 twice. I don't know the Porter County side, who's responsible for that, but probably right down the middle, potentially. So.
Well, thank you for that explanation. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Support. Oops, I'm sorry. You wanted a second. Okay,
No, that's all right, Mayor. I defer to you. Okay,
second.
okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next
you.
time, thank you very much.
I wish everybody a happy holidays.
Same to
Happy
you.
holiday to you, Charlie.
Next item on the agenda is approval of a contract. Chief Forker, Michigan City Police Department is requesting the approval of a contract between the Board of Public Works Safety and Big Idea Company to obtain contractual services for marketing, recruitment, and retaining staff. Good morning.
Good morning again. Marty Corley, Chief Operations, Michigan City Police Department, and then also have with me Dave Cooney, Chief of Service, Michigan City Police Department. I believe you guys have a copy of the contract. You have any questions?
I have none, but Amber, have you looked at it?
Well, I helped draft it, so I looked at it and drafted it.
I think we'll trust your judgment then.
And proofread it several times.
All right.
Backstory, here when Chief Porter came to office, one of the things he looked at for the police department was the recruitment and retainment of officers. As you all know that we have many skill sets, but marketing and recruiting are not those. After some talks with some of our city council and some other people throughout the public, Chief Forker then solicited the help of Big Idea Company and some other companies around to see what they could do to help us with those issues. And so that's why we're coming forward today. Hope to get better at recruiting and retaining our officers so that we can get up to our 84 complement by the end of next year.
Okay, all right. But what is the term of this contract? How long is it going to last?
It will last. I don't think there's no set term. The services are kind of like month to month. And so once we have a limit of $14,000 that will be going into contract with them. And so once those monies are used for the services that they'll provide, which will be in the line of, I have those, they'll be doing some a professional photography, recruitment, website, landing page, organic social media, and print materials.
Okay, all right. So it's a total of $14,000 and that is paid in 2 installments. Is that not correct?
Yes, the first installment will be after they're halfway through with the services, and then the final installment at the end of the services.
Okay, and how was this firm chosen?
We basically kind of put the word out what we're looking for. And we had contact with them, and they came and gave a presentation to us. And then we also reached out to a couple other firms and got some numbers of for the same services.
Okay, so go ahead.
Chief, isn't it true they've helped other police departments as well? And so you're able to see their marketing?
Yes.
What they were able to do for other departments?
Yes, they've also worked with the city of Mishawaka and their police department, and also the Illinois State Police.
Okay, all right. Any other comments from the board?
Well, I'm just a little in the dark about not having an end date or a period date.
I asked that question, Mayor, and it's really when it's going to be delivered. So they can't give us a set date because it's going to be about content based. Did they give you an anticipated idea?
So you're looking at anywhere from, depending on the materials that they give to us and the length that they last. I mean, we're looking probably 3 to 6 months.
So is it somewhat like in construction would be a time and material contract where they're going to expend their efforts and bill us, and when the 4,000, is it 4,000? 14,000 is gone, then we need to make a decision.
Yeah. So correct. So after we get to a certain point, that all the services are rendered or given to us, and we're out, the materials are out there, and we're doing our due diligence with recruiting and getting officers in, then it might come a time when we have to renew the contract or go to more services to add on to what we have.
Well, I find that rather confusing because how do we know we're halfway done and ready to pay half of the cost when we don't even know what half is, the half period of time is?
Well, what I looked at was the scope of services. So I was going to rely on the chiefs as to what was actually produced to them and if the scope of services are being met, because they are supposed to do the website, the social media and all the print materials.
That's rather suggestive. though.
So we determine percentage complete.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, I mean, then it's up to you guys. Then we go back and I can ask them to put a duration on there as well.
I would have preferred to see a duration immediately, 6 months or whatever.
Because I specifically asked that question. And she didn't want to limit it herself to something that was not attainable. Like if I asked, was it 30 days, was it 60 days?
Well, I find that troubling. Any other board comments?
it is a little bit of an issue. When I said we determine, I meant MCPD. I didn't mean this board. You're the professionals. But it is a valid point. Maybe we could put a time in there, performance duration not to exceed 12 months, not to exceed 24 months.
I'm sure she won't. I'm sure she won't have a problem if we say that deliverables to be done within the next 6 months.
Right. I mean, it might not be in there, but I couldn't see it lasting no more than 6 months with the service that they're going to give us.
And the other thing the chiefs are trying to do is encumber these funds. So we needed a purchase order to encumber it this year. And if we don't, then it won't be encumbered.
Okay.
So if you would want to approve, subject to me adding a duration of 6 months, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Approve it pending the amendment by Council LePage Stolberg.
Second.
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Vincent.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
While he's close to the microphone, I just want to commend Chief Cooney for what you're doing with animal control. I know you're digging in to take care of the problem. Appreciate that.
Next item on the agenda is an amendment to the contract. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineering Limited, is requesting the second amendment to their engineering services contract between the Board of Public Works and Safety and Premier Engineering Limited. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning. Before I forget, happy holidays. So, Premier Engineers has really enjoyed working with the City of Michigan City, and we're looking to extend our contract through 2023, and that's the nature of the amendment.
Amber.
So Brian, did your legal counsel look at my changes and are they okay with it?
They're looking through them. I caught them Friday afternoon, so.
Okay, so Brad submitted just a proposed cover letter page with like a second amendment to the contract. My suggestions are very minor, just specifically to reflect the actual dates of service going into 2023. I'm okay with this board approving it, subject to my amendments being accepted.
Okay. All right.
Sure. And they were just clerical in nature. They did not impact the dollar amount. And my division manager did get back to me. She had no problems with the edits. Unfortunately, our legal counsel's in the process of moving houses, so I wasn't able to get his review this weekend. So.
Okay, thank you. Are there any public comments and any board comments?
I'll make a motion, we approve pending the changes that legal counsel has suggested.
Support?
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Brad, we have another one for you. Double track updates. Brad Minnick, Premier Engineering Limited, is providing an update on the intersection improvements and enhanced safety at eastbound and the intersection only of 11th Street and Ohio Street, Lafayette Street and Oak Street, and the intersection of Chicago Street and Green Street near the Amtrak Railroad crossing. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay. I apologize. I did not have that on a zip drive, so we could put it up on the screen, but you should have it in front of you. Basically, the first three you went through the intersections of 11th Street, which is, again, a reminder, eastbound only in the final configuration, with Ohio Street, Lafayette Street, and Oak Street. Basically, those are going to be stop arm controlled with a railroad crossing. And we wanted to make those as safe as possible. The best way to describe this. So for eastbound traffic on 11th Street, as they approach those intersections at Ohio, Lafayette, and Oak Street, they'll have traffic southbound coming at them from Ohio Street. Unfortunately, because of the double track, the two tracks coming through there, you're going to have a hard time looking back to the west and seeing approaching traffic. So southbound Ohio Street, southbound Lafayette Street, and southbound Oak Street will only be stop controlled by the gates. So when the gates are up and the trains are not coming through, they'll be able to proceed without stopping across both those tracks. Okay. Now northbound traffic will have to stop. The reason it's being designed and built this way is because if you had the stop sign close enough to where you could see eastbound traffic, you'd be sitting on the tracks. And we don't want that condition to where we talked about earlier this year, the fear of people getting trapped in between the gates. So that's why the intersections are being effectively redesigned to make them as safe as possible. And I think you guys all have exhibits in front of you, right? That show that. So I'd field any questions. We also have placards below the stop signs. If you look really close, that's why I'm wearing glasses today. You can see, for example, eastbound traffic on 11th Street. When they come to the stop condition, it will warn them traffic from left does not stop. So they'll know if they read the signs that southbound traffic coming at them is not stopping. To be cautious of that. So that's the summary of that intersection. And if there aren't any questions, I'll move on to the improvements at Green Street.
Please.
Okay, so Green Street's historically been kind of a mess there with that single railroad flashing beacon with no arm control. And I'm speaking of Green Street westbound at Chicago Avenue. I'm aware there was an accident a few weeks ago with a city bus, I believe. So the Federal Railroad Association actually contacted me probably 3 weeks ago and asked what improvements were going to be made at this intersection. So that, coupled with Amtrak's desire to effectively clean it up, has prompted the revisions you see there. I highlighted in the picture the red dash line are where the gates are going to be. On Chicago, there's obviously existing gates on either side of the tracks. And then on Green Street, we're going to shift the intersection to where it comes in at a perpendicular condition with Chicago to make it cleaner and easier to navigate and enhance control of the traffic. So if you have any questions about that intersection, and in terms of schedule, I'll back up to say 11th Street, the contractor intends to open it before Christmas, which is coming up. And then Green Street, they're going to work on that over the winter months. I don't have an open date for Green Street in the new configuration. So.
Question, please. The signal, the train signals, I was right in that vicinity when that accident took place. And it was determined that one of the Amtrak signals was not functioning. But beside that, the signal was placed, the crossing signal, just the old fashioned, was placed way too far back upstream or to the south. Because I think at that point, Green Street is.
Green Street's
running
east-west,
yeah,
east-west.
Kind of running east, yeah. Back, the signal was way too far back. When you stopped, you couldn't see what was coming at you if you looked left to see what Amtrak. Have you been advised? Are you aware whether or not Amtrak plans on relocating that signal?
It will be relocated. If you see in the drawing there, as you're westbound on Green Street and making a northbound movement onto Chicago, you'll see that red hash line, and to the right of it is where the arm will be. And excuse me, the flashing lights. So the flashing lights will be closer to the Chicago intersection, and this has been obviously a long-standing issue. When I first got involved with NICTE project, that was one of the first focal points, was cleaning up that intersection. But with the addition of the gate, also that'll help enhance the safety of the intersection.
Well, I had to answer that question because out of all the railroad companies we deal with, we all know that Amtrak has been the most difficult to deal with by far.
So that is, these enhancements are going to be at no cost to the city, and this one in particular, Green Street, was initiated by Amtrak. So
great, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question, Madam Chair, on the 11th Street crossing with the southbound traffic that does not stop. What is the speed limit crossing the tracks?
for the intersections of Ohio Street and other, talking about the southbound traffic.
Right. I thought that's what you said. The southbound on Ohio does not stop.
That's correct. That's the southbound on Ohio, as well as two other intersections there, Lafayette Street and Oak Street.
No, I'm just concerned of a high speed limit in that area. Crossing tracks, crossing traffic. Are we looking at reducing speeds in that area?
I don't believe the posted speed limit is going to change. But as 11th Street opens up, hopefully in the next week, I've told the NICTE staff that we need to stay vigilant and monitor the new traffic patterns, because it's going to be very impactful to the city, and adjust accordingly. If we need to add other safety enhancements, we'll be prepared to do that. So we don't want cars bottoming out as they cross the tracks or speeding through there. That's correct.
Is there any public comment on this issue? It's the board's pleasure then to hear. Okay.
Hi, this is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. I have a great fear that we're going to see an uptick in train versus vehicle collisions with the new double track and the quiet zones, and I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to be worse. They're going to increase the trains of the trains. They're going to start running the trains through Michigan City at 45 miles an hour. Believe me, you do not want to be a passenger on the train in a train versus vehicle collision. Just anybody can tell you about that, it would be me. It happened to me twice last year. The impact is absolutely horrific. You get the feeling the train's going to derail. You just can't stop shaking. I did a little bit of research on this, and I just want to give maybe a little safety notice. The safest place to sit on the train, if it's possible, you want to sit in the rear of the second to last car of the train when you ride the train. They say if it's going to derail, you have the safest chance of walking away, and you don't want to sit in the very rear end of the train, because there's a possibility that your train might get rear-ended by another train. That happened in Chicago on the electric line back in 1972. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Anything else from the board? Then do we have a motion?
No, I'd like to make a motion. We approve the improvements.
Support?
And I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry.
Aye.
Mr. Benson.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is for informational purposes only. Chief Steve Forker, Michigan City Police Department, is announcing the retirement of Officer Charles F. Henderson with 26 years of service with the department, effective Wednesday, January 11, 2022. I'd like to thank Officer Henderson for his service. Next item on the agenda is a policy amendment. Mayor Perry is requesting an amendment to policy number 305 in the employee manual by adding an additional holiday effective January 1st, 2023. Mayor Perry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For just under 3 years now, we've been under the effect of COVID, and I'm very proud of my administration. I'm thankful and appreciative how they have dug in and acted accordingly, done a really good job during this time. And this being a holiday, I feel it's a gift that I would like to give them out of my respect and appreciation for everything they've done. It's been a very difficult time nationally, statewide, and in cities and towns. And Michigan City we maintained ourselves. Our infection rate was lower. We had the lowest in LaPorte County for the majority of the time. We did a very, very good job. And I feel that the administration never let the stress get to them, and I really appreciate that. And I hope the board will consider approving this.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public? Board comments. I just want to recap what Mayor has given as his reason for this change, and that is in gratitude to the employees and the excellent work that they have performed during this very difficult time. Is there any comment?
I'd just like to ask, this goes for all city employees?
This will be for every city employee. They will have a day off. It's not on their birthday, but the day will be taken during the month of their birthday. So they'll have a birthday day off, so to speak.
Does that include part-time employees as well?
No, it does not.
Okay, thank you.
Does this affect any union contracts that we have out there at this time?
No, we've already looked at that. The union contracts, their dates are already predetermined.
Okay, no other questions. I'd make a motion we approve.
Just 1 minute.
And just to clarify, this would be to all the employees that would be subject to our handbook. We do have some departments that have their own handbook that would have to make their own adjustments to it. For example, like Park Department would have to make an adjustment to theirs. Just to clarify, and then we do have union contracts as well.
If I may, I'd like to thank Attorney LePage Stallbrink, because you've made me think of something that we had talked about that I want to mention. For years, this was a policy of Michigan City government for years, and it was stopped during Mayor Overly's administration. So it's not something new. Our transit department already has that in their contract. They've had it in their contract, a birthday day off for some time. And so this will bring the rest of the employees of Michigan City up to where we have been in the past and where the transit department currently is. Thanks for your comment. It reminded me of that.
Motion still stands to approve.
Support?
I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the payroll docket for December 1st, 2022. City payroll of $207,216.47. December 2nd, 2022, city payroll. Did I say pension or payroll the first time? It was let me go back, because December 1st, 2022 was city pension of $207,216.47. December 2nd, 2022 is a city payroll of $895,625. And December 16, 2022 is a city payroll of $965,689.94. We also have a claims docket for December 19th, 2022, municipal claims of $1,979,222.84. Health and life insurance fund of $29,654.75. CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grant, $303.75. Workers' Comp Trust EFT is zero for total claims of $2,009,181.34.
Well spoken, Madam Chair. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Sorry.
Kind of going to sleep here. Next item on the agenda is pending items, unfinished business list. We only have one item on that for today, which is the matter concerning Kevin McGuire, CFO of Michigan City Area Schools, wanting to use right-of-way for a device called a place pod. Amber, you were awaiting some information on that.
So if you recall, Mr. McGuire presented the board at the open board meeting with an MOU. There was a term in the MOU that I did not find acceptable. It was not favorable to the city. So I redrafted the MOU. I forwarded it to the attorneys, the school's attorney, who was Attorney Kaminsky. He was unaware of this matter, was going to look into it and get back with me. I've not yet heard back.
Okay. So we need a table.
I would just keep it on the pending list.
Another month. Another month, yeah. Okay, all right.
Great.
Next item on the agenda is public comment. Briefly, public comment. Reminder that this section on the agenda is reserved for matters that do not require board action. If you want action from the board, you're going to need to be placed on the agenda using the forms and procedures available at the clerk's office and also available on the city's website. Also, as I've stated in the past, call your attention to Resolution 2823 enacted by this board on December 6, 2022. That reads in pertinent part that public comment is limited to 3 minutes. All comments to be addressed to the board president, not to individual board members, and comments must be germane and within the mandate and authority of this board. Is there any public comments after all of that verbiage? I suspected as much.
Tommy Polavic, 1316 Ohio Street. I want to wish Captain Jeff Lineski a happy retirement from the Michigan City Police Department. I want to wish him all the best in his new role as a deputy for the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office, and thank him for all of his professionalism and dedication to the city of Michigan City for the last 25 years. I also want to wish you, all you board members and attorney and clerks and Mr. White and Mr. Minnick and everybody, a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And thanks for everything you did for me and handling all my requests and listening to me and processing my requests and my videos and whatnot and everything that you all do for the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tommy. That was very nice. Is there any board comment?
Madam Chair, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my personal gratitude and thanks to Captain Jeff Lineski for the years of hard work and dedication for the Michigan City Police Department, everything he's done above and beyond for this board in the city of Michigan City. I wish Captain the best. He will be dearly missed. His replacement, I'd like to welcome Corporal Brian Wright. Very excited about Corporal because we have had several interactions on and Captain Lineski's job will be more than adequately handled by Corporal Wright. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
I would just like to say that this has been a wonderful experience for me being on the Board of Works. It's my first endeavor into government helping. And I'd like to thank everyone involved up here on the board and everyone behind the scenes for helping me and listening to my concerns and straightening me out and quieting me down when need be. So I'd just like to say thank you for the past year, and I look forward to learning it even more and helping out in the next year.
Well, good. I was afraid that was a farewell. We don't need that. We need you.
It did start out that way.
Well, I concur with what Mayor said about Captain Lineski. And I also personally like to thank everybody who's participated during this past year and put up with my running of these meetings. I know sometimes they're not perfect, but I do appreciate the attendance that we have had and the members of the city departments who have come before us on a regular basis and perhaps taken a little bit of time away from what they would normally be doing to participate here. Thank you all very much. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.